Read All About It is a collection of the first three American Girl Kit books. Sometimes a Kit Classic and Volume 1 are included with the book's title. There are two different versions of this book. The 2014 version has no illustrations at all. That's a shame, because the original books had some good illustrations. The 2020 version has some of the illustrations, but it makes room for them by abridging the text. At least 7 different scenes were removed, some of the chapters were renamed and combined. I don't know which version of the book I'd recommend. It's basically a choice between having illustrations and having the complete books. It wasn't a bad idea to combine the first three Kit books. Story-wise, they fit together pretty well. They all occur around the same time and focus on the same characters. Book 2 definitely follows Book 1. If it wasn't for the 1 month time jump between them, I would think they were two parts of the same book. I have already reviewed the first three Kit books separately. The rest of this review will be those three reviews combined together. I hope you enjoy them! Kit Kittredge is an American girl who lives in Cincinnati, Ohio in the year 1934. Kit likes pretending to be a newspaper reporter. She writes articles like, "My brother Charlie eats too much," which you could truthfully say about most teenagers. Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review. Kit and her best friend Ruthie Smithens go to Mother's garden party. Mrs. Howard says her family has to move because they can't afford to live here anymore. Mother kindly offers to let the Howards stay with them for a while. Dad tries to be happy about the situation, but he seems upset. I'd be upset too if my wife gave us two permanent house guests without telling me first. Mrs. Howard is fussy, especially over her sickly son Sterling. Sterling seems nice when Kit talks to him alone. Kit gets a baseball article for him when she accidentally bumps into Mrs. Howard and destroys a valuable cup. This is kind of off topic, but I have a little orphan Annie Ovaltine mug. My kid dropped it, so now the back is cracked and I can't use it anymore. So I totally sympathize with this story of a kid accidentally destroying a cup from the 1930s. Kit gets in big trouble. She complains it's not fair. Charlie sits her down and explains the family has much bigger problems. Dad's car dealership just went out of business. Now Charlie can't go to college, and if they don't get money soon, they will lose their house. Charlie doesn't want to be grim, but sometimes life isn't fair like that. Kit tries to think of ways to save money, and even though Dad has business meetings every day, he can't find a new job. A week later, rich Uncle Hendrik visits the house. He gloats that the Kittredges should have listened to him when he said the car dealership was a bad investment. In order to silence Uncle Hendrik, Mother says they're going to support themselves by taking in boarders. That's actually not a bad idea. It does mean Kit has to give up her bedroom and live in the attic. She's unhappy about that, but she ends up having fun decorating the attic the way she likes it. She makes a different area for each of her main interests. As Mother says, changes can be good, and the entire family will have to work hard to survive the Great Depression. The end. Post-book follow-up. This book was my introduction to the American Girl series. I've heard of these books before. I figured they would be like the Barbie book series, which mainly exists to sell dolls to little girls. I was pleasantly surprised by how good this is. The story's simple yet engaging, the illustrations are fantastic, it does a good job of introducing all of the characters, the educational value's good too. You can tell it was well researched to make it as historically accurate as possible. There's even a section at the end, which is a more in-depth look at life during the 1930s. As a book nerd, I enjoy the fact that Kit loves to read, and she occasionally references books, especially Robin Hood, and some books that I've done reviews for, such as Nancy Drew, A Little Princess, and Heidi. This book is a complete story. It doesn't end on a cliffhanger, but as soon as I finished, I immediately wanted to get the next book in the series and find out what happens next to Kit. I actually changed my schedule for book reviews so I could read the second Kit book sooner. If the other American Girl books are as good as this one, I can see why it is a popular, long-running series. I give Meet Kit and American Girl a big thumbs up. I'm not sure when this book takes place. The cover and timeline page say 1934. Page 63 says it's 1932. And on page 24, a character talks as if it's the same month as the 1932 presidential election. So is this book in 1932 or 1934? Argo Fump Book Review, Argo Fump Book Review. It's been 3 months since the last book. Mother is on edge because they need more boarders to make ends meet, and they need to fix Charlie's sleeping porch before winter comes. Mother criticizes Kit for not taking her cleaning chores seriously, and she tries using peach slices at breakfast to disguise the fact that they're eating oatmeal again. Dad is in a better mood. He says he gets enough food from his business lunches, so he gives his toast to Sterling. Sterling gets a letter from his father in Chicago, which has $20 inside. Whoa! That's so much money! Mrs. Howard uses half the money to pay her back rent. At school, the class has to put up with a show-off boy named Roger. Kit corrects Roger's mistakes about the first Thanksgiving. She can certainly sympathize with the Indians, who were forced to put up with uninvited guests. Mr. Fisher, the teacher, asks about ways you can help other people. He says the school is having a Thanksgiving food drive for the local soup kitchen. Kit and Roger get into an argument when Roger says unemployed people are all bums who refuse to work. When the class builds a set for the Thanksgiving play, Roger makes fun of Kit and Sterling. First he jokes that they're married, then he says Kit is Sterling's maid. If you ask me, Roger is the real bum here. Sterling tricks Roger into sitting in some glue. Roger starts insulting their fathers. Kit is so mad, she shoves that loudmouth Roger into a ladder. A bucket of white paint accidentally falls on him. I'd give Kit a reward, but Mr. Fisher gives her a mild punishment. He makes Kit and her friends take the food to the soup kitchen. They hand out bread to the many people in line, and Kit is shocked to see her dad. Dad sadly confesses he hasn't had any business meetings in months. He lives on handouts so his family can eat well. He's not the only one with a secret. Sterling confesses his father didn't really send them $20. That letter was a fake. An excuse so his mother could save face over the fact that she can't afford to pay the rent. Dad decides to move to Chicago so the family can take in more boarders. Kit's very upset about this, and she's inspired when she sees a sketch for the treehouse she's planning to build with Ruthie. Dad can stay here and use the treehouse lumber to fix Charlie's sleeping porch. Their gentleman boarder can move in with Charlie, freeing up room for 2 more boarders. That way Dad doesn't have to move to Chicago. And as for Mrs. Howard, she can do maid duties in exchange for paying rent. Kit and Sterling write a fun newspaper which explains her plan. It's a happy Thanksgiving for everyone. The end. Post-book follow-up. I really liked this book. It was very emotional, especially with the double whammy that Dad lied for months and Sterling lied because his father abandoned their family. You can definitely make comparisons between the two fathers, and also Roger's father, who gets mentioned a few times. The supplemental educational material in this book was downright sad. It talked about schools closing, teachers being fired, and a real-life penmanship teacher in Cincinnati who committed suicide. This would be a different book if that teacher had appeared. Kit and the other characters continue to be interesting and realistic. Kit may be a bit of a troublemaker sometimes, but her heart is in the right place. I really hope things work out for this family. It's inspirational how they succeed in their struggles through tough times. Although if I was in a more sarcastic mood, I would complain like, gee, wasn't it super convenient that Ruthie just happened to get the wood to fix all the Kittredge's problems? It's a good book, a good follow-up to the first book, and it makes me want to read the third book in the series. I give Kit Learns a Lesson, a school story, a thumbs up. Kit and Ruthie go to the movies together. Kit likes the newsreel about Amelia Earhart, while Ruthie loves the movie about a woman who dances up a giant wedding cake. That sounds like an awesome movie! I'm disappointed it appears to be a fictional movie made up for this book. Argo Funk Book Review, Argo Funk Book Review. Kit and Ruthie have minor disagreements on the way home. Kit thinks Ruthie's being unrealistic with her make-believe princess games. It's the Great Depression, Ruthie. You're not supposed to be happy. Ruthie wants to do their annual Christmas tradition of going downtown for shopping and a show. Kit knows that's impossible. Her mom doesn't have money for new clothes. If they can get enough money to pay their electric bill this month, it'll be a Christmas miracle. The girls overhear their parents talking. The bank is going to kick the Kittredges out of their house if they don't make a mortgage payment soon. Mother visits her rich Uncle Hendrik. He refuses to give them any money. In fact, he orders them to be his caretaker because he's feeling under the weather. That's the opposite of helping. Kit visits Uncle Hendrik in her mother's place. He says, "I don't want you. Go away." Merry Christmas to you too, Uncle Hendrik. Uncle is very mean and fussy. A lot of his orders contradict each other, like, "Move me closer to the fire." "Ah, move me farther away from the fire." His dog Inky is just as mean. I wouldn't say Uncle Hendrik is secretly nice, but he's not as terrible as he seems. He gives Kit some nickels so she can ride the streetcar to and from his house. When she accidentally misses the streetcar, she tries giving him his money back, but he refuses to accept it. He's basically giving her free money, and that is kind of nice of him. Kit realizes she can earn 10 cents a day by walking instead of taking the streetcar. Ruthie tries to save their Christmas tradition by having her mom pay for everything and by giving Kit her old dress. Kit tries to explain she'd feel embarrassed and ashamed if she took Ruthie's charity. Ruthie accuses Kit of being selfish, and they have a big argument, which ends with Ruthie refusing to talk to Kit again. As a result, Kit spends most of her Christmas vacation at Uncle Hendrik's. She realizes she can earn more money by doing all the chores that he pays for, like grocery delivery and letter delivery. There's so much snow and sleet on Christmas Eve that Kit cannot walk home. She has to spend the night at Uncle Hendrik's. She can't call her parents because their phone line has been canceled. She calls Ruthie. She apologizes to Ruthie, but Ruthie doesn't respond. That night, Inky insists on sleeping next to Kit. She doesn't like it. I think it's cute. Kit has a happy Christmas when Ruthie and her father come to get them. Kit's typewriter is fixed, Mom gives her a dog pin, and Kit gives Mother all the money she earned this month so they can pay the electric bill. She gives Ruthie a fairy tale story that she wrote, while Ruthie gives her an Amelia Earhart doll. The end. Postbook follow-up. After reading this book, I learned they sold the Amelia Earhart doll as an accessory for the Kit dolls. I'm guessing the same is true for the dog pin and the other Christmas presents and things that got special pictures in this book. It kind of ruins the ending for me to know that I'm reading an advertisement. I thought this book would be like Pollyanna, where Uncle Hendrik is transformed into a genuinely good person thanks to Kit. Nope, he's still a jerk at the end of the book, although he does tone it down because it's Christmas. I thought Kit and Ruthie's fight was well done. I actually agree with both of them. Ruthie is a little childish for her age, and Kit needs to stop rejecting all forms of charity when her family is on the verge of losing their house. Overall, I thought it was a good addition to the series. Kit is a positive role model, and it's nice to see her work hard to make sure everyone has a happy holiday. I give Kit's Surprise, A Christmas Story, a thumbs up.